Welcome to the Nerd Party.
Hello, everybody at home, and welcome to Houselights as we open the door to the house of Cosmatos, George P. Cosmatos, to those listening. And we are starting as we open the door, as we go into the foyer, the entryway, if you will. We are reviewing, nay, basking in the glory that is Rambo: First Blood Part 2.
Yes.
And I have to say, like, this was my first time watching Rambo: First Blood Part 2. And I have opinions, and I cannot wait to talk to you guys about them. And for those of you listening, I cannot wait to hear the opinions of our own Dr. Sci-Fi, Darren Moser, and John Mills, aka Kessel Junkie, lowercase k. How are you guys doing tonight?
Well, what you call hell, I call podcasting. That's all I have to say about that. I'm stoked. I'm excited. This is your first time seeing Rambo: First Blood Part 2. And I know I grew up with this movie. Like, this movie is an indelible cultural mark in American cinema history. And I can't wait to talk about it.
No, I'm very excited too. I'm excited to be sitting with someone who saw, UHF before Rambo Part 2, which is going to be an interesting take to have experienced it in that order, Tristan. But
well, I've also seen Hot Shots Part 2 before.
There you go. I've
seen UHF and
all
Hot
the
Shots
references
before Rambo.
So you're watching and you're like, oh, that's where that's from.
He's using a chicken. That's hilarious. I wonder if that's a reference to something.
Yes.
Well,
so yeah, this was interesting.
Even though you had never seen this, Tristan, my first viewing wasn't actually that long ago, because when we did the Rocky series, I was going on a major Stallone kick. And so I watched, Rambo and then First Blood Part 2. And then I was kind of worn out of Stallone for a moment. So, but I did. So only within like the last year or so did I watch this for the first time, but we didn't discuss it. So it's going to be a great time.
Yeah. We did the Rocky movies not that long ago in the grand scheme of things. And they just dropped the 4K releases of the entire Rocky set. And my first reaction was, oh, time for a Rocky rewatch. And I'm like, I don't know if this one's going to be right off the bat. I think I'll wait a little bit on that one. But total side note on this one, I watched the 4K version, and this actually had a really good transfer. I was surprised. I mean, like, obviously some shots were better than others, but man, you could see every pectoral muscle glistening during his electrocution scene. I mean, like, the pixels were right there.
It's funny because when you really think about it, especially with a movie like this, which is, let's be honest, Rambo: First Blood Part 2, it is straightforward crowd pleaser type of material. It's going out there. It's an action movie. It is not making an attempt to be high art here. It is just coming out there. It's smash mouth cinema. And the 4K transfer is probably better than anybody saw in the 1980s. I mean, let's be honest about this, where it's like we're living through an era where we're getting these pristine quality transfers that are better than what you would have paid money to see, back in 1985.
You were lucky if the projectionist had the projector in focus. You were lucky, and you were okay with it.
Yeah, there were plenty of times, where I had been in movies where they switched to the wrong reel. And they had to stop the movie and then come back and restart and all of those sorts of things. But the Blu-ray transfers for these movies were really good too. So strangely enough, you would think that there would be this inverse relationship of how the Rambo movies would be treated with their 4K or Blu-ray transfers versus some of these higher, more prestigious films. And it's like they actually take great care with these. You got to at least give them credit for that, I think.
Absolutely. I think regardless of what you think of a movie, whether, it's something like that, whether it's something that's worthy of a Criterion release or something that is, like a big blockbuster action film where you can just turn your brain off like this one, or something that's like a drama of just two people talking to each other. Like if it affects the zeitgeist in some form, it deserves to be maintained. Like not everything needs to just be thrown in a VHS bin at Walmart.
Yeah. Yeah. So I do want to go ahead and say that Cosmatos' name, even though it's attached to this, which is a landmark action film, and some of the other movies we're going to be looking at, he definitely made an impression on American cinema. Like, it's not like, did you either of you guys actually know who directed Rambo First Blood Part 2 before we decided to go and open this door?
No,
right?
Zero. Had no
idea. Isn't that weird? Like, for film nerds, we always pride ourselves on knowing who directed it, who was the cinematographer, all of those sorts of things. But Cosmatos, I wasn't even aware of his name growing up. No, not at all.
Yeah.
Like, at all. And I just think it's kind of weird. I'll be interested to see, as we talk about this movie and as we talk about his other movies, whether that's because he was a producer's director or a true artist at work, right? I'm dying to know, Tristan, did you see a proto Christopher Nolan at work here behind the camera for Rambo First Blood Part 2?
To be fair, when we watched Following, I didn't see a proto Chris Nolan. I'm like, great. Okay, all right. So like you say it as a dig, but I'm like no and no on both counts. And for those of you wondering, we're not doing all of Cosmatos' filmography. We're starting with Rambo: First Blood Part 2, and we're doing Cobra, then Leviathan, and then finishing with 1993's Tombstone.
Yes.
So this is going to be a journey. This is going to be a journey, folks.
A beautiful journey, nonetheless. But, Tristan, seriously, first impressions as you're coming in, not trying to get to like ratings or anything, but like, I'm dying. I know, Darren, you got to be dying to know. I'm dying to know.
Or like, what did you know? Because I'm assuming you'd seen Rambo, or had you not even seen
You
that?
mean First Blood?
First Blood.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yes. I mean, you know what I mean. You know what I mean.
No, because isn't there a 2017 one that came out that was called Rambo
Last
or
Blood.
something?
Yeah, it's called Rambo Last Blood. Yeah.
No, there was also one called, it goes First Blood, Rambo First Blood Part 2, Rambo 3, also known as Rambo First Blood Part 3 internationally in some markets.
Of course.
Then the fourth one was simply Rambo, and that was supposed to be the final one. Then they decided to make another one called Rambo: Last Blood.
So they just can't separate the two titles, like as much as they try.
No, they cannot. Cannot.
I love that. I love it when things get crazy convoluted. I think the only thing that rivals that would probably be the I almost said Fantastic Four movies, but I meant what do I mean?
Fantastic
what am I talking
Beasts.
about? No, God, I'm not trying to be silly or funny here. The racing ones.
Fast and Furious?
Fast and Furious.
Okay.
Yeah. You had the wrong F word.
I was literally making the driving motion with my hands.
These movies.
For those of you listening.
These movies.
The thing is, this is not a visual medium, obviously, but the hand gestures he was making, folks, I thought he was referring to a farming series that I had not watched, that he was milking
Fantastic
a cow.
Farms 5.
Yes.
I really wasn't trying to be cute. That was weird. Yeah. So to answer your question, there was one thing that I really noticed was certain times when he did close-ups, it was almost Jonathan Demme-esque. Is it Demme or Dem? We talked about this when we reviewed Silence of the Lambs.
Pretty sure. I always say Demi, but I don't remember where we left it.
No, you were, whatever it was, you were right. Like whatever, like it was Demme.
Well, that's the important thing.
I knew that was going to go to your head. So yeah, Jonathan Demme. You know how Demme like just has the characters just stare down the barrel. Just it's like maybe like a millimeter off from staring
almost
right.
breaking the fourth wall.
Yeah, it's just like a frog's hair away from breaking the fourth wall and just looking down the barrel. And this he wasn't as close as Demme, but there was a lot of close-ups where it was practically at the lens, and that was one thing that I noticed that I don't know if that was a style of his or of the cinematographer Cardiff. Fun fact about the cinematographer Cardiff, the Oscar-winning Cardiff, I can't remember his first name right now. Their original cinematographer got sick like a week into filming or something like that.
Jack
and they
Cardiff.
Jack Cardiff, thank you. And they were freaking out because they were shooting in Mexico, and the main bad guy, Steven Berkoff, who I've always really liked as an actor. Steven Berkoff, he said he's like, oh, Jack is vacationing not far from here. We should ask him if he wants to shoot it for us. And Stallone goes out and like finds him and says like, hey, I really need you to shoot this movie. And he says, he's like, I just got done doing this project. I wanted to vacation. I wanted to take some time off. And he's like, here's a bunch of money. He's like, okay, all right. I can rest later.
I'm already here.
And the photo album from that vacation is one picture of Jack Cardiff with 2 thumbs up and a big smile with a big pile of money. And it just says best vacation ever.
Yeah, and the dollar sign is on the money bag itself.
Yeah,
Right.
Exactly.
Full Scrooge McDuck mode.
So yeah, I don't know if that's I think since this and Tombstone are the only Cosmatos films that I've seen, I'll have to, once we get to Cobra, and then I'll be able to figure out if it's a Cardiff signature or if it's a Cosmatos signature. But that's the main thing that popped out to me.
Well, one of the thing is, Cosmatos started off, I think his first film that he worked on was, he actually worked on Exodus as an AD, I think. And so, that's auspicious beginnings right there. But he seems to have been the fortune in the right place at the right time, basically. Somebody that knew how to keep the project going, sort of thing. But it, like, basically what I'm trying to get at is, like, I have lost all perspective on Rambo movies by this point because I've grown up with them. They've always been just a part of my life. And like, so much to the point where I remember being excited about the idea of a Rambo 3. So like, I existed before Rambo 3 ever did and was aware of, its impending release and all that sort of thing. But like, that is something where like, I'm just trying to like figure out, because I look at this and I can honestly say what I see is workmanship. And by that, what I mean is none of these camera angles or approaches or editing or anything like that is really knocking my socks off. It's all very efficient. It's very, by the numbers. Like, I need shot A, shot B, shot C, and I'm not going to get too cute with it. Like, we just came out of the House of Stone, right? I can already tell just from this movie, I'm never going to get something explosively unexpected from this director. There's nothing in this where I look at it and I'm like, wow, that was an unexpected way to treat it. Or have I just lost that sort of perspective?
I'll slightly disagree. There's no like giant rack focus, Jaws shot, but I think he shoots
except for every single arrow he shot.
True. We have to have the path of the arrow. But I will say it's a storyteller's camera where he's really good about like, oh, this means that that's what this character is seeing, or that's what this is, this moment. I'm thinking of shots like when Rambo's underneath the huts and he's looking up through the slats, and we know that he's encroaching and they don't know he's there. Or even in the finale where he's squaring off against the helicopter and you see the point of view of the other helicopter, the beefed up one with all the missiles, and you can see, oh no, Rambo's passed out in the cockpit. He must be dead. Like you can fill in what no one's speaking anything, but exactly what's being communicated between the two characters because of the shots. So I will say it's telling the story well, even if it's not, I agree, it's not like, oh my gosh, the shots, let me tell you. But I will say it did tell the story really well.
Cool.
One thing that I noticed, and John, you were a victim of me texting you while I was watching this movie. I was laying on the couch and my head was killing me. It was just absolutely killing me. I was like, no, this is the only time I have to watch this movie. I'm going to watch this movie. And I kept thinking to myself, like, I kept asking like silly questions to myself, where I couldn't just turn my brain off, where I was just like, it's a Rambo movie. It's an 80s action film. Just shut up. But my brain was just like, why do they have so much firepower at this POW camp? Why do they have like 30 guys when they only have 5 POWs? Like, why did the Russians show up at this time? Like I started asking myself all these questions. And I feel like if we did House of Emmerich and then House of Cosmatos, I probably wouldn't ask myself all these questions. But because we went to House of Stone, Oliver Stone in between, where every movie is exposition,
there's no exposition in this movie.
Yeah, I couldn't turn my brain off. And
Okay.
because I kept asking those exposition questions. Also, although the beginning really, really made me laugh because I had to remind myself that this is the 80s. It's an action film. It's these tropes exist for a reason today because of these movies. And I loved when Rambo walks in and they start telling him, you're going to have the best technology available. Just let just let the technology do most of the work. But they don't say what the technology is or like what's in his backpack. They don't show him being trained on how to use it. And then when Rambo gives his line, I think the best piece of technology is the mind. You're just like, oh, he's gonna lose his technology real quick. And he's going to show.
And he does.
he's going to show. I don't need your
all he
effing
needs
technology.
Is a knife. That's all he needs.
I need my knife and my knife and my wits. That's all I need because I'm a real man. And then like they show this just wall of blinking lights,
computer banks and tape decks.
And you're like, besides radar, what on earth are they using for this mission?
Well, first and foremost, it's the CIA and other government agencies, and they love to spend. So it makes perfect sense that this listening post would have too much stuff. And never mind the fact that I didn't see him pay for those Coca-Colas. So I have a problem with that. But I can tell you that I think one of the brilliant things about the movie is the fact that it knows what its job is, what type of story it's trying to tell. And it doesn't, even this early in the game, it knows it's not going to try to be James Bond. James Bond, we get the equipment and we have Q walk us through the whole thing. It's like, this is isolithic optotriptor and it's going to do this thing. And it's like, oh, okay, well, that'll come into play later. Like, it
every
seems,
piece of tech for James Bond is a Chekhov's gun. It has to be used later. They would not show it to you otherwise.
Right. Whereas with this,
why even do it though? That's the thing. Like, I don't need it to be a Q segment. But why even involve it?
In all honesty, just for the throwaway line. You're going to have the best technology, and then you can just symbolically lose it. And Rambo proves that you just need the great training and the will to get through the mission. Like, seriously, it's that straightforward.
Where, oh no, Rambo has to cut away all of his advanced technology because of this fluke flying out of the door. It's like,
and then also it's like the guy like pulling on the cord, like, what is that gonna do?
Yeah,
it's like I can't do it.
Hey,
if honestly the guy had just pulled out his own giant Bowie knife and just cut it, we would have been saved right there.
But it's one of those things where, to the movie's credit, it knows what it's here for. It knows what I'm there for. It knows what we're all there for, and it basically hits its internal fast forward button. And it's like, we know why you're here, okay? Like
How fast can we get him in the jungle, and how fast can we get him kicking butt?
You want to talk about tropes? It says we have to show you these scenes. We're going to make it so fast that you're going to know we did it, so that you can get to the thing that you really want to. It's like an impatient movie because it knows the audience is also impatient. The audience wants to get to the action.
And that was a Stallone invention, specifically because the first draft of the film was written by James Cameron, the James Cameron. Mm-hmm. And James Cameron likes to
here on Houselights.
Yep. Cameron likes to Cameron and Stallone have kind of like taken shots at each other in the press about this movie. And Cameron have said, I put the something like I put the jokes in, and he put the politics, something like that. I put the comedy in, he put in the politics, something to that effect. And because like a lot of the politics of the movie got a lot of eye rolls back then, or there was some like contention, like it was either eye rolls or it was a little sore of a subject than it is today. Because this was 85, is that?
Yeah.
So Vietnam wasn't that long ago from 85, and I don't think people really understand that. Like, there's so many times when people are like, "Oh yeah, the 60s, Vietnam." No, it lasted much longer. And in the 80s, where Darren and I were born. Like it wasn't that far from it. And so there was a lot of heat behind that because Stallone he's like, no, this movie it can't just be action. There needs to be some sort of political message. There needs to be some sort of sympathy towards the veterans and the state that the country has left them in. And in Cameron's initial draft, there was going to be like a jokey sidekick who had all the tech, who went with him in the jungle. And I think it was originally going to be played by John Travolta. And
I can't see Rambo with a sidekick.
Right, and that's
can't.
the thing is that like
odd,
neither could Stallone. Like Stallone couldn't see it, but like Cameron said that Stallone didn't like it because the sidekick got all the fun lines, and Stallone doesn't like it when somebody else gets all the good lines, which is true. But at the same time, Stallone was saying, he's like, yeah, I know Cameron likes to say that I put in the politics and that's all that I changed, but his version, there was no action until the 40-minute mark. So he's like, yeah, we did.
This movie's like, what, an hour 35? It is not that long.
It's
very
not.
fast movie.
96 minutes, I think.
Yeah.
96
you're right.
minutes. So
You're right. It's like a
super
Disney
fast.
movie length. Like, that's nothing.
Yeah. Basically.
Yeah, when you take out the credits and kind of the falling action, like, and you have the, that final conversation, it's barely 90.
But see, in terms of the politics, the end, I'm coming for you. Like that whole thing is, I mean, I was way too young to know what would have been contentious about him given that speech at the end of the guy, because it's in the vein of the original First Blood.
Right.
Screw you. The government got us in this. We didn't want to go. And then you all treated us like garbage when we came back. Straighten it out and treat us well, or, in this version, it's like, or we're going to mess you up, right? Like we're going to punch back next time. And if it was contentious at the time, I'm too young to have remembered that. And it would be surprising to me now that it would be at the time, because Rambo as a character very squarely in both movies puts the blame on the people that decided to go to war. He's like, I'm this way because you guys did that to me. Like, in a way, it's this really, very clearly, you mentioned Oliver Stone earlier. It's the same sort of thing that Stone's saying in JFK, where it's like, oh, those shadowy guys smoking cigars in the back room, they're the ones that decided to send our boys to war. It's like Rambo saying the same thing. It's like, it's politically in step with Oliver Stone.
Which is kind of interesting because there's no trauma. Like, he has no flashbacks when he's back in the jungle.
Mm-hmm.
I just realized that now, but like, yeah, he kind of just missions up and kicks ass. Like, it's what do you think of that, Tristan?
There's no PTSD. I mean, in the first one, in First Blood, that was the entire point of the movie, is that like this guy is so damaged, he has so much trauma that he started having flashbacks and freaked out and tried to get away from the cops and ran into the forest that made him think of the jungle. In this one, he's literally in the jungle trying to find POWs from the war that he was a part of. No flashbacks, no struggle, nothing.
True. And in a different director's hands or a different screenplay, probably there would be moments like that. But there's, basically it's respecting the sequel logic. We addressed that last time.
Yeah.
Character is now past that point. Character is now okay with everything.
And
it doesn't recur.
Miss it. Like, I literally just noticed it when we were thinking about it. But I mean, and this is the sequel that writes itself. It's like, okay, well, what do we do for the Rambo sequel? Okay, well, we have to have First Blood in the title somehow. Okay, sure. And then it's like, well, what's going to be about? It's like, what if he goes back to the jungle and he has to rescue some POWs? Like, it writes itself. It's so simple. Not that simple is bad. It's just, that's what sequels were. You were lucky you got something that wasn't just another small town in Oregon this time.
Right.
It's slightly different, but it's Rambo.
Right. No, I think you're right. It would have been too easy to turn a series like this into like the Incredible Hulk, where he just goes from town to town and then somebody else treats him
Warrior.
Yeah.
It just blows in on the wind, solves the town's problem of the day, and then blows out. Yeah.
Yeah. And that wouldn't be arguably as much fun. Now, if I recall correctly, this movie also got into some heat for how violent it was, which I got to ask you, Tristan, did this seem excessively violent to you?
Well, I mean, The Godfather was heralded as being excessively violent when it came out. Like, I remember, it's just like, I remember hearing about it from, like from my parents and even my in-laws who were talking about like, oh yeah, when it came out, everybody's just like, this is insane. This is just gore. And I'm like, really? like pretty sure you could show this stuff on TV nowadays. I think what was funny to me is that when Napier was talking, like giving the cliched run of credentials was the word I was looking for. The run of credentials of it was just like, he can, like he can he was a beret. He did this. He knows 15 languages. He can make a knife out of a toothpick. All those kind of things. And he says he had 59 confirmed kills. He kills way more than that in this one. So the entire war, he has 59 confirmed kills, but in this one day, this 2 days maybe, he doubles his kill count, which I thought was interesting. There's a few things where I thought was more graphic than I expected. I mean, this is an R-rated film, so for an R-rated film, no, I don't think this is overly graphic. And also, side note, not to derail the conversation, but I found the real quote from James Cameron. Cameron said, "I wrote the action, and Stallone wrote the politics." Now, this is what Stallone had to say in regards to that. He says, "I think that James Cameron is a brilliant talent, but I thought the politics were important, such as a right-wing stance coming from Troutman and his nemesis Murdoch, contrasted with Rambo's obvious neutrality, which I believe is explained in Rambo's final speech. I realize his speech at the end may have caused millions of viewers to burst veins in their eyeballs by rolling them excessively, but the sentiment stated was conveyed to me by many veterans. Also, in his original draft, it took nearly 30 to 40 pages to have any action initiated, and Rambo was partnered with a techie sidekick. So it was more than just politics that were put into the script. There was also a simpler storyline. If James Cameron says anything more than that, then he realizes he's now doing the backstroke badly in a pool of lies."
Ooh. That seems pretty personal.
Yeah,
if you ask me.
I thought it was fine until that last bit. I'm like, oh, okay, you've been holding on to that one for a while.
Well, I mean, if maybe there's some sort of bad blood about the fact that Cameron's name continually gets brought up in relation to this. And it's like, how many other people write a first draft of a movie? Right. If James Cameron had not gone on to be the James Cameron we know, would we be talking about who wrote the first draft of this film That's same way we are now?
John. Yeah.
And apparently in the first draft, he had Rambo in a mental institution.
Yes.
Instead of hard labor. And then he just used that in Terminator 2.
Yes. And the thing is, and we talked about it at the time, Aliens comes out of all of Cameron's research for this as well. So
that makes sense.
Yeah. And even Ripley's journey is pretty similar to Rambo's, right? Where they send her back into the thing that traumatized her. Right. Yeah. And she's the one person that's got experience, and they're going in to rescue these people. And so there's
double crosser, the bad company does.
Yeah.
Well, you're right.
There's definitely echoes in there, but I mean, since this is, we love to focus on the director. Like this is the thing. It's like, it sort of gets back to like with this movie, it's so hard because you almost want to believe that Stallone like shadow directed this in some way, because he's producer, he's writer, and he's Stallone at this point. And it's almost like he just didn't know how to do an action setup. So he's like, hey, who can do an action movie? And it's like, oh, that guy over there. It's like, cool.
Or there's the difference of, if you're I don't think he could have directed it, not because of prowess, but just because of like all of the mental and logistical things to direct a movie, and you're in every shot. Like I just think logistically that wasn't going to happen in the mid 80s.
Well, he was also directing the Rocky movies at the time.
True.
So he's got the Rocky series going on. He's got Rambo First Blood Part 2 happening. and he's got other projects in the works as well. So I think you're right with that, where it's like, how is he going to ever slow down to direct this? So does that speak to the type of director Cosmatos is? That he's a guy that knows who his boss is, and Tristan, I think you even said, like, there's a reason the producer accepts the Best Picture Oscar.
Yes,
because it's their movie.
It's their movie, absolutely. And Cosmatos was Stallone's choice to direct this film.
Yeah, that was my curiosity, is how did Cosmatos come into the equation?
Well, his Stallone's son saw Cosmatos' movie Of Unknown Origin that came out in '83 starring Peter Weller, and really liked it and liked the style that he brought. And so Stallone's like, cool. And then picked up the phone and said, I got a movie.
Imagine having that type of let's take a minute to pause and think about this. I think over time, people have forgotten like, everybody loves to talk about the 80s as Schwarzenegger's decade in some way, but like, Stallone really was
right on his
huge player. I mean, he was a huge player. And, to your point, Tristan, hey, that guy looked pretty neat. Cool. Hey, hire that guy. Like, that's in Hollywood. Yeah, that's real power. So
no, Stallone has made the industry a lot of money, and like he has his quirks just like everybody does in the industry. He has his ego just like everybody does. But the man, think about his acting style, whatever you want. But the man has made money for the industry, and he's brought he's put a lot of butts in seats. And so John, did you see this in the theater? You saw this in the theater?
No, I was No, even my terrible upbringing would not have allowed me to see Rambo: First Blood Part 2 in the movie theater in 1985.
I never know. Okay, I never know. I always just assume you've seen it.
I saw it on video as soon as it was available. But no, okay. I did not see this in the theater.
Okay, yes. So I wasn't far off. All right.
No, not too far off.
Now, okay, so you talked about, like, this is a rated R film, and you talked about people, saying like, "Oh my God, it's so violent." With today's standards, you have several children of various ages.
Mm-hmm.
Would you show this to any of them and bat an eye at the violence?
No, the teenagers, I'd have no problem with it.
Okay,
I'd be like, yeah, whatever. I mean, but the thing is, it's like, my dad did the same thing to me that I think I've passed on to my kids, which is drilling in the idea of the artifice of it, so they never look at it as real. The youngest, I would not show this to.
And
yeah,
jelly dancing like, oh, I got shot, and you fall over. It's not like, oh, there's a man sawn in half and all of his entrails are out. Like, there's a difference.
There's a specific difference between like this and Saw. Like, this is so over the top. This isn't like intimate violence,
and that's,
right?
Yeah,
but this isn't like intimate violence. Even the torture scene is done in a very, very Republic serial villain sort of way, where it's like, cue the music up and everybody's, and we're all tense and the lights flicker and stuff like that. But yeah,
why does he look so damn sexy in that torture scene?
It's a workout routine. Apparently. No, I kid. But that is, I still say with that torture scene, that moment where he grips the microphone, you hear his
muscles,
it's coming.
Yeah.
I think that is one of the great builds in action cinema, where it's like you just see the fist and you're like, oh yeah, here it comes. Like, even the sound effects are getting excited for what's about to go down. I love it.
Well, no, and you said like the villain. I mean, he's like the secondary villain, because I think really Maddox is like the I'd say he's the primary, because he's creating the whole situation. But
I mean, Murdoch,
yeah, Murdoch,
Maddox, yeah. But I think it's so interesting, because I mean, we all say formulaic, but not really. Really, it's a sequential story. It's like, he rescues the first guy. Like, I like the villain because he is a smart villain, relatively. Like, he does underestimate Rambo to his detriment, but not hugely so. Like, he keeps him tied up almost the entire time. He always has a guard around him. He figures out, if I pivot my attacks to this POW, I'm going to get what I want. Like, it's those steps are logical and make sense for a villain. It's just he underestimates him at the very end, and then that kicks off literally maybe not the spiritual second act, but like you feel the pivot right there, where it's like, okay, now it's run and gun until we've finished our mission. Like, it's all build up to that microphone scene.
And I will also say that we have that build up. We have the big, action sequence, and we have all of these things going on. And the one funny thing that to this day that I fixate on is when the quasi love interest question mark buys it and he takes her jade necklace. The only thing I can think, as it's so tightly around his neck, is I'm like, why would you put a choking hazard on right now? Put that in your pocket or something. But that's me being me.
He ties it to the barrel of his gun.
Something that would be if they made Rambo First Blood Part 2 now, that's what they would do. That is exactly what they would do.
Well, I loved as soon as she said, like, take me to America with you. I'm like, well, you're either making it to America or you're dead. And I'm pretty sure which way we're leading. And then it's like not even 5 minutes later, she's gunned down.
Oh, yeah, not even a minute later. Yeah. He's like, let's go to America right now. Boom.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so the amazing Julia Nixon played Co. And I John, this was another thing that I texted you while I was watching it. She is distractingly beautiful in this movie. Like, she's in the middle of the jungle and looks like that. And you're just like, I'm sorry, what's going on? What's the plot?
Right.
But I really enjoyed her character regardless of what she looked like. She was very delicate, but at the same time could rip you in two. And that's a hard line to walk, especially in the 80s. And her death got to me. I was angry by her death. I was like, that sucks. Like, why did they have to kill her? Like, if only she didn't say take me to America, she would have been fine.
Right.
Well, and the same thing with the POWs. Like, and again, not formulaic to a fault, but the fact that it works. Like, you have these characters are obviously in a specific niche. They are the background, but they're part of the video game where you got to protect them and carry them along, but you are the main character. So that's always going to bring tension, because in our heart of hearts, we know Rambo is not going to die. He is, of course, going to make it. So the real question is, how much collateral damages are going to be around him? Like, that's the real question.
Yeah. I think I just want to echo what you said, Tristan, is that Nixon, I think, is really good in this. I agree with you. I think that she is an overlooked aspect of the film. I think everybody fixates naturally on Stallone. Everybody fixates on the action. Everybody fixates on the message that's there. And I think they forget, Darren, you talked about how the Russian bad guy, he's really effective. And Nixon is really effective in her role. And I think that because Stallone's like Rambo in the fact that it's like everybody else's performance, everybody else's support that makes this work is, in a sense, collateral damage to just the streaking star of his career at this point. And that's a shame, because Charles Napier and everybody around Stallone showed up, and very obviously they knew it. It's easy to overstate, but like, everybody showed up, and there's this sense that they knew how important it was that they really stick the landing on this one. And maybe that's where we should give Cosmatos credit, because, as we often say, the director is telling the actors what he needs from them. And Cosmatos was able to say to these actors, this is what I need from you, and let's get this. I don't know how many takes they got everything in, but I think another tribute to the direction, honestly, is, and this could be taken as a backhanded compliment, but it's not intended as such, it doesn't feel like it took them a long time to get every take. There's no sense of
like 2 months. Like,
right.
They actually shot it really quickly.
But what I'm saying is, there's no sense of fatigue from the actors. There's no one scene where it looks like everybody's exhausted and they've been there with Coppola in the jungle for 6 years, and nobody, there have been 6 divorces, 12 births and stuff like that. This is like a director said, okay, I got this amount of time.
8,000 feet of film in a day,
right. Yeah. A director shows up and says, okay, I need this, I need this, I need this, and we're going to get it. You understand? Great, go. And
No. Well, and one more thing on the female character, it makes me think of the character Anna in Predator, which came out 2 years later, where you have the lone female who's kind of a native to the jungle area, but also kind of holds her own. I think she's like one of the lone survivors in that one. But again, we're starting to see these formulas. Again, not in a bad way, but just it's funny looking back at it. It's like, oh yeah, of course it's the the lone woman in the jungle. It's like, yeah, but at the time that was being born.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, John, before we get into our Lance Reddick category, I want to ask you, what did you think of Goldsmith's score?
Loved it. I love this score. I absolutely love this score. And of course, because I know the Star Trek V score so well, there are little hints of it here and there. It's just 4 years down the road. But I think it's a magnificent score. I actually will listen to this one when I'm working or when I'm, doing something around the house or something like that. I really enjoy this score. I think this is one of the Goldsmith's finer scores from the 80s.
I really like the names of the tracks. Like they're listed here. It's like Preparation, The Jump, The Snake, The Cage, Ambush, Revenge. I'm like, that's exactly what you need. That's it. One word.
I love it when composers get descriptive with where it goes in the movie. I hate this cute BS that people do, especially Giacchino. I can't remember his pronunciation.
I was actually about to interject looking at you, Michael Giacchino.
Yeah, I'm just like, I have no idea. Like, I'm glad you like puns, okay? But I have no idea what track this is supposed to be.
Enterprising Young Man, is that what you're thinking of?
Well, that's the only one that can, that's one of the best tracks he's ever written, so I'm allowing that one.
Although one can overdo it with things like Qui-Gon's Noble End release a month before the movie comes out.
I've told you that story, right? I've told you that story.
We're looking for balance somewhere in between.
Those are our polls. We have somewhere where we can go.
Yeah, call the tracks at the end, Home Flight and Day by Day, not, Rambo died in this scene. Like, we don't need to be that descriptive.
Like, Co didn't make it to America. Movement 3, like, I don't know. Okay, so Darren, you have a time machine and you have unlimited money and casting ability. Where do you put Lance Reddick in Rambo : First Blood Part 2?
He's got to be
Murdoch.
He's got to be Murdoch. I think he's amazing in this, but I just, for a character that never leaves that room for the entire movie, basically, I just want to see Lance like betray our hero and sweat it out at the very end when he comes, he's like, I'm coming for you. And he does. And he pulls out that big old knife. So I really want to see him as Murdoch.
John.
I agree. I love Charles Napier in everything he does.
He's fantastic.
I love him in this role, but I would love to see Lance Reddick knock this one out of the park, because I think that we've seen him play roles where he has to be an authoritative figure. And I think that I would love to see him have that moment of panic when he realizes that this trained killing machine of a man is surrounded by hundreds of enemy in the middle of the jungle, miles and miles away. And he still takes the time in the middle of that to say, I'm coming for you. Like, what a love letter that is, right? Wait, what? Like, the one thing that's going to get Rambo through this, I would love to see Reddick play that moment.
Me personally, I would do Troutman. I think
you would recast Krenna.
I would. Hey, you would recast Napier.
Okay, well, that's okay. Fair enough.
Yes, I would have him as Troutman, because I think Reddick could hands down be the recruiter, the guy with history, the one who says, I got a job for you.
See, I give you credit on that, because I think I had put a mental block on myself because Troutman was a returning character.
Yeah.
But I agree with you. If I didn't have that mental block for myself, that is a fantastic pick for Reddick.
It's true. Yeah. It's a small role, but it's I feel worse for that character when he's on the helicopter, and Rambo doesn't know that he didn't just abandon him. He has to hope that he told him, you're the only guy I trust. Mm-hmm. And it's like, dude, and he has to know, like, Rambo's probably really struggling right now.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Per tradition, I'm making Darren go first with his ratings. All right, so Darren, how many dead chickens are you giving this
Are there
film?
any dead chickens in this? Or are you just thinking of,
No, like he uses chicken blood towards the end.
Okay.
To fake the guy out, make him think that he's hurt.
I was thinking more of the heat-seeking concussive grenade arrows, which I still didn't tell where those came from, but
I also love the sound effect that they added to him. That was clearly a sci-fi added sound effect that had no basis in real life. When he's like when he was just tying them on.
You just hear like a little twang of the arrow. Yeah. But it's like, no, it's gonna blow up the guy.
Stop avoiding the question, Darren.
Okay. No, I mean, it's funny. When I put this into my letterbox, it pulled up the star rating I gave it last time. 86 episodes. I thought it was just a moment ago. It was actually like 2 years because I looked up when we were doing Stallone last.
Wow.
We've been podcasting a long time, but I'm gonna still give it a 4. It bumps up from a 3 to a 4 because I am giving it a lot of slack for being kind of pioneering in its own genre because of what's establishing in the 80s, in Rambo-ness, in action. Like, this movie started a lot of that. And you see that because it's parodied. It's parodied in comedies. It's parodied in other action movies. It's like the father of this kind of film. And I said many times, I'm not trying to trope it, but it's right there. So for me, and it's just enjoying the movie and enjoying the popcornness of it, the blockbusterness of it, those are all like superficial, but combined, for me, it moves it from a 3 to a 4. So I'm giving it 4 exploding chickens.
Nice.
John, same question.
I give it a 4, but specifically because there was actually a time where I kind of poo-pooed this movie. I considered it beneath me. I was a little bit snobbish about it and everything. But there was a point in the past where I revisited it, and not even so much for the pioneering, but something I very much value in this life. 2 things: honesty and transparency. And this movie does not fool around. It shows up and it says, you know why you're here. I know why I'm here. You want to watch stuff blow up, and you want to watch a guy absolutely go through and savagely murder a whole bunch of people that deserve it. Okay, great. And it's a handshake. It's like, great. We both understand why we're here. It's like somebody walking into Deadpool versus Wolverine. They're not walking in to go see The Godfather or Jaws or The Abyss or anything like that. They're going in to see Deadpool and Wolverine, and I'm sure that movie doesn't mess around with it either. And this movie, without having to break the fourth wall, is like, yeah, we know why we're here. Let's do it. And I think it does it well. It does it efficiently, and it does exactly what it should in this sort of format, which, yes, there are all of these logic things that in retrospect you can come at it for. But when you're in it, it doesn't slow down enough for you to really concern yourself with it. These are all end credits questions that you have, as opposed to in the flow of things. If this movie had been 2 hours, it would have been terrible. 96 minutes, well done. Yes, 4 stars.
I struggled with the rating on this one. I legitimately had a hard time because my first instinct was 2.5 stars, where I'm just kind of like, to me, like 2.5 stars is mediocre. And to me, 3 stars is liked it, but it has its issues. And there's a big gap for me between 2.5 and 3. Like there's just like almost an ocean between 2.5 and 3. And I started going back through my previous Letterboxd diary and seeing like what I've given 2 and 2.5s and what I've given 3s and everything like that. And I can't in good conscience give this 2.5 because of some of the dreck that I've given 2.5 stars. And this isn't dreck. It's not. This is fun. This is action. Like this is you got to turn your brain off and enjoy it. But I think there's just, I feel like there's better action films out there. I feel like I feel like there's too many things for me to nitpick to say like, oh no, this is good, or no, this is great. And so I think talking to you guys have definitely elevated it up to a 3, and I'm giving it a solid 3 for what it's done and what it's influenced.
All right.
Darren, what are we doing next week?
Well, next week, we are jumping forward just another year. And Stallone is back as we continue our journey for Cosmatos with 1986's Cobra.
Join the revolution. Join the Nerd Party.